Future of money and crypto adoption in LATAM. Bull market trends.
We're going to look at the future of money and crypto adoption in LATAM. Bull market trends. Oh yes, we're feeling bullish today. So let's invite to stage our amazing moderator, Cal Evans, the Managing Associate at Gresham International. We have Matheus Moura, the co-founder and CEO of BRLA Digital. Guilherme Giserman, the former head of crypto trading at Itaú, Antonio Neto, the CEO of Vega, and Fabrício, Tota, the new business development SVP at Mercado Bitcoin. So gentlemen, where are these guys? Where's our panelist? Where have they gone off to? Cal, it could just be you on your own, answering your own questions. The guys were all here earlier. I feel like I saw everyone, right?
You had like an improv thing, potentially.
You had a little discussion with everyone. Let's see where they've gone. Right, you're in safe hands with Cal as a moderator.
Okay.
What are we thinking? Okay, so we're discussing the bull market trends. Are you feeling bullish, Cal?
Always.
Always feeling
just as
bullish.
A rule of thumb.
What about in the bear market, though? How do you feel then?
I jokingly say to people, I hibernate like a bear. That's why we call it a bear market, right? You hibernate. You try not to make stupid decisions.
You just don't come on stage. You don't do any panels. Well, these guys are ready. I've already introduced you guys to stage.
Don't worry, guys. I got it. You chill. It's
up.
cool. We'll just...
Coming up, our amazing panelist, that is Matheus, Guilherme, and Antonio, and Fabrício. So please, guys, come and take your seats on stage. Have lots of fun, guys. Let me leave.
Don't be shy. It's okay. It'll be good fun. I promise you. Good. I'll sit there, actually. I'll make life easier. All right. Fantastic. Well, guys, welcome to the stage. So how I like to normally do these things, we've got a solid 25 minutes together. I always think it's best if guys introduce themselves first. You can get to know them. And then I'll kind of start firing some questions at you. And hopefully in the next 25 minutes, we'll have some interesting discussions and talk about some stuff. I'm always more kind of interactive, by the way, so don't feel like we have to keep it down. If you've got something you want to say, jump in. You know, let's make it exciting. Okay, well, I'll kick off, right? I'll introduce myself first. I'm the Managing Associate of Gresham International. We're an international legal and compliance firm. We specialize in the digital asset space. Alongside working at the firm, I do speaking, I wrote a book, I'm in articles, I do all the kind of usual stuff that goes with it in the industry. I tell people I'm a thought leader, but then if you were to ever ask my mother, she'd tell me I never had an interesting thought in my life, so probably not a good idea. I also explain to people I've lived in a few different countries, so my accent can be a little quick, it can be a little annoying, so if I speak too quick in English, always feel free to raise your hand. Panelists, same as for you guys. If you're like, Cal, that question didn't make any sense. Say it again, please, buddy. Feel free. And that is me. So, gentlemen, I'll start here and we'll work our way down.
Cool. Well, good morning. I'm Fabrício Tota. I work for Mercado Bitcoin. I'm the new business development senior vice president there. Well, some of you were here when I was speaking. Mercado Bitcoin is the largest crypto exchange here in Brazil, but much more than a crypto exchange. We're an ecosystem that we have an asset management company, equity crowdfunding company, payment institutions, so on. And well, I myself, I talk to people. That's what I do, and try to bring new businesses to the company.
Nice. Hey everyone, I'm Antonio. I've been in crypto since 2013, seen a lot of things. More recently, I was head of LATAM for one of the biggest exchanges that collapsed. You guys might know who it is. After that, I founded Vega, which is an ecosystem as a service. We help companies from abroad, Web3 companies, to get into the Brazilian market and position themselves and be ready to access the Brazilian market. More recently, we also started to organize Ethereum, which is one of the biggest conferences about EVM and Ethereum here in Brazil.
Hi everyone, good morning, thanks for coming. I'm Guilherme Giserman. I've been in global equities, TradFi, for most of my career as either a portfolio manager or an analyst. And then I first discovered Bitcoin in 2015-16 and actually started working with crypto 3 years ago at Itaú as the head of crypto trading there. That was my last role. I'm on to a new challenge now, which I can't talk too much about yet, but it's very interesting conference. Happy to be here.
Hi everyone, I'm Matheus. I'm co-founder of BRLA Digital. We are basically simplifying the payment grid globally by connecting blockchain stablecoins to local payments. We envision that crypto can be the future of cross-border payments infrastructure, so we are building that.
Excellent, fantastic. So we've got a pretty diverse panel, but we're all financially oriented. There's no outlier. Well, I guess I'm the outlier. The lawyer's the outlier. That's pretty fair. Okay, cool. Guys, so look, we're all very, you chaps are all very LATAM focused, and I think that's a very important part of this discussion. When we break down LATAM as a market segment, specifically in the type of market that we're seeing now, and we'll start here and we'll work our way down. What do you see are the biggest indicators of an uplift in this geographical area? So as a great example, I'll give you an example. I spend a lot of time in the UAE in Dubai, and you can normally tell when there's a market uplift because there's more Lamborghinis and Ferraris sitting outside the shopping mall, right? It's rudimentary, but it's a good telltale sign. There are other terrible examples I can give you about, clubs where ladies take their clothes off in America and spend extra money, and that's a great market indicator, but we'll talk about that. So in this particular region, what do you think are the biggest indicators? Maybe talk about some of the unseen indicators that things are on the rise. And we'll start here and we'll work our way down.
Cool. Well, firstly, it's fun because when I talk to people outside Brazil or in this kind of environment, for example, we typically use LATAM. And we are so different, man. Of course, every region, every country, every city is different from one another. But it's very rare here to see a company that's very successful in the full region. So I'll speak about Brazil, that what we see here as this kind of indicators. I think, first of all, we're a huge country. Over 200 million people, of course, but this is not a hidden indicator. This is pretty clear. But I think that we have a very specific set. We're a huge country, a very well-developed financial system that's important a lot, and that made people here, especially in the crypto space, to be more creative. For example, using crypto for remittance. It's pretty cool, but we're not so connected to other countries that remittance is a real thing. For example, regular people, average people, they don't need to send money abroad. Of course, there are some very specifics. For example, I have a friend that his son lives abroad. He needs to send money every month to his kid. But we're talking about very well-educated and rich people. There's not the typical use case here. But other than being a huge market and a very nice financial system, a pretty well-educated people in terms of using technology. Not educated, maybe just curious about it, but everyone has a smartphone and people are really into it and spend a lot of time, more than it was supposed to be, but people do spend a lot of time using this kind of gadgets. So I think only these three indicators raise a lot of opportunities for companies, especially in the crypto space, I guess.
Very cool.
Yeah, the way we look at this at Vega when we go and help people get into the Brazilian market or LATAM is depending on what they are building or what they are looking for. So when we talk about applications, like in these terms where they are localized, cross-border payments, we do have some go-to markets here, right? In the sense that some companies set up themselves and start operating here in Brazil or in LATAM, and that there is these very clear applications. And then there's the other side that is on the tech usage or adoption. What I mean by that is One of our clients is a blockchain, and they want to have their technology being used here in Brazil. And with that, we work with them to develop an ecosystem so they can have access to that. And what we are seeing from like these last 2.5 years is that the biggest tell for us right now is how many blockchain clubs have come up inside colleges, how many startups are actually looking into building their own tech here in Brazil, like BRLA is one example, and you have like less of these putting together pieces and actually building here locally. So we are seeing a lot of these support from foreign blockchains looking to have people building on top of their technology and coming up with the applications in itself.
That's very cool. That's an interesting point, because I suppose that's also an evolutionary piece as well, right? If we think of the technology life cycle, I'm kind of geeky enough to remember big data and cloud, and when companies were just kind of in it because it was cool, and then it evolved, and I think maybe we're getting there now, right? In the blockchain space,
It is looking like that, especially in the understanding of the technology. So we now have this demand, as Tota said before, for the DREX, right? The central bank setting up one layer, and the whole private market has to build the rest. Yeah. So we are seeing that demand finding the supply, in terms of building the technology.
And something that's very specific for crypto, for example, is the concept of composability. Things that have been built, we don't need to build it again. So it's completely different from other industries, for example, that different companies start building the very same solution, and competing for who builds the best. In crypto, this usage is so common. Even the DREX, for example, the central bank using technologies that has been developed all around the world. They don't even know who did it, and it doesn't matter. It's open source, and we can use it. The patterns and the technology itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll keep it going down, please.
Let me add some color here. I guess from my experience, the institutional world, I've seen much more interest in at least looking at crypto now versus a couple of years ago. And at the hype of the last cycle, people started to look, but then everything melted down, and then bear market happened for 2 years, and now I see a more sustainable growth to the industry. And I think one important change was the institutional adoption, and so for instance, the ETFs, the BlackRock ETF, it wasn't not just an ETF. It added so much credibility to the industry. You can now have the largest asset manager in the world selling it to their clients, and institutional adoption made it a lot more easier because of that. 3 years ago, at the largest banks or in TradFi, we would talk about Bitcoin, and it was money laundering and financing terrorism. Now people actually understand what it is, and they might not like it, but it's now an asset class, and I think it's going to be a mainstream asset class like equities or fixed income in a few years from now, and every hedge fund and bank is going to have that specific group doing that. That's on the crypto space, and then the digital assets, it's I think much more advanced in terms of tokenization, and there's this concept of, right, most people say I like in TradFi, I like blockchain, not a big fan of Bitcoin, and even that I think is starting to change. They're seeing the value in the digital gold status and all of that. So I think there's no turning back. And the ETF was a watershed moment. I think where adoption is going to be much faster from here.
Yeah.
As a B2B infrastructure company in this space, I think for me, the best indicator I see is regarding how many entrepreneurs with an MVP or PowerPoint yet are coming to us to see if they can use our solution to fit their product. So I picked this number today against last year, it increased like 5 times. So we can see a lot of people trying to figure out what they should be building in crypto. They are not there yet. MVPs, PowerPoints, some more traditional companies trying to build some products, but I see a lot of people trying, and when we align like human capital with money, we can, and a great technology as blockchain, we can do a lot of things. So that's it.
Oh, very cool. Actually, you touched on a very good point, talking about institutional. So let's swing into an institutional lane very quickly. We've seen America ETFs, Hong Kong's announced. Now there's big plays as well. What are we seeing in this region? We can focus on LATAM or Brazil, but what are we seeing institutionally as some big kind of indicators that there's adoption, uprises? You know, what's happening in this part of the world? And you are keen on this, so please.
I just want to point out one fun fact that happened last week that we all came to know, that one of the biggest banks in Brazil, it's half public, half private, Banco do Brasil, they are figuring on the top 30 ETF Bitcoin holders from BlackRock. Yeah. So that's one of the things we are seeing here. So they now announced that they will be offering that to customers. So they are parsing that to customers. So I think that's one very specific fact that's very recent that caught my attention.
Fantastic. So the institutional scene down here is booming, it's growing. How would we describe it?
I would say it's starting.
Come on, be optimistic.
Yeah, being optimistic, because there's so much potential. I think it's just the beginning. We've seen the beginning of the adoption, and there is a huge industry in Brazil. I think everyone is starting to look at it, and sooner rather than later, I think most people are going to have to adopt it, or they're going to be left behind. And there's so much opportunity, both in terms of trading, arbitrage, as well as on the tokenization side, and making things more transparent, faster, easier, and better, and providing more access to clients and things like that. So I think it's just the beginning, and we've seen some asset managers and banks do that in the past, but just a few, and now I see a more collective interest as a whole, as an asset class.
Sure. And perhaps for the chaps who runs an exchange down here, what's driving it? Retail or institutional?
Retail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, what happened here, ETFs are in place here in Brazil for 2 years or even more than that. But it didn't caught the attention of the TradFi, the traditional financial market. Even though some asset managers, they did a great job of putting it in place, but unfortunately, our Securities Commission, they allowed the companies to do that, but if they use an infrastructure abroad, outside Brazil. And that was a shame, because we missed the opportunity of developing the local market, you know. So all this, back then, all these asset managers, they didn't trade at Mercado Bitcoin because they are not allowed to do that. That was a shame. But now with this impulse, the ETF in US, hey, wow, now yes, we can do that. But even Banco do Brasil is one of the largest ETF holders. That is pretty good. But actually, what that idea of Bitcoin no, blockchain yes, you know, is it so 2017 thing, but still on people's mind, you know, the institutional players' minds. And Drex, when the central bank called all the financial institutions, hey, I will do that, who will join me? We have over 70 companies that have joined the central bank. I estimate that we have something like 1,000 people involved on developing Drex here in Brazil, because with every company you talk to, they have a handful of people, you know, working for Drex or something like that. So it is a thing, but driven not by the technology or the opportunity itself, but by the regulator. What for me is completely strange, you know, here in Brazil, what drives the volumes and the trades and the investments and so on is retail so far. but it's changing a lot. Even the Securities Commission, to be honest, they have changed these rules 6 months ago. So now we have a more level play field with regulation in Brazil being put in place by the central bank, hopefully at the end of this year. So things are changing, and the opportunities for the institutional are much clearer now than it was, I don't know, 5 or 10 years ago. Only entrepreneurs that really were willing to take some risks, like us here at Mercado Bitcoin, were able to build something around. And thankfully, we have pretty good entrepreneurs here that were pretty deep inside crypto.
Very cool. Well, gentlemen, rather than burning through 60 seconds, I'm going to do a quick summary and just say, look, I think this has been fantastic. It sounds like the retail market is driving things down here, backed by entrepreneurs. And the really cool rebels like you guys are kind of building some cool stuff in between, right? Remember, it's only treason if you lose. That's the rule of thumb. And it seems like the institutionals finally kind of started getting there, right? Taking a notice and making sure some cool things are happening. Excellent. Well, this has been fantastic. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me on stage. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to listen. This has been fantastic. I think we've got a keynote up next from Matheus. So stay around for that because it's going to be fantastic. And then I think you have a keynote from me. Definitely don't stay around for that. That's a coffee break time. But thank you very much.
Thank you.